Sword Art Online was supposed to be the story about someone becoming the strongest player in a game-like world. Instead, we got a Gary Stu protagonist who is instantly good at everything. Solo Leveling took the same basic concept but actually delivered on the promise that SAO failed to fulfill. Let's be real, both series start with similar premises. A somewhat average guy gets thrown into a life or death situation where game mechanics suddenly become reality. But while Kirito was magically amazing at everything from the start, Jin-Woo begins as the weakest hunter in existence. He's literally called the world's weakest hunter, and the series means it. He doesn't have hidden talents, special abilities, or even basic combat skills. He survives purely by running away and hiding behind other hunters. This is where Solo Leveling's genius kicks in. Instead of instantly making Jin-Woo overpowered, the series forces him to earn every single bit of power. His early fights aren't epic battles, they're desperate struggles against the weakest monsters imaginable. He nearly dies fighting basic creatures that any other hunter could handle easily. The series takes the getting stronger part seriously, something SAO completely skipped over. But it's not just about the power progression. Solo Leveling actually understands what makes game mechanics interesting. In SAO, levels and stats are basically just numbers that make Kirito look cool. In Solo Leveling, every stat point matters. Every skill has clear limitations. When Jin-Woo gets a new ability, we understand exactly what it does, what its weaknesses are, and why it matters for his growth. The system feels real because it has actual rules that even the protagonist has to follow. The Shadow Army mechanic perfectly demonstrates this difference. At first glance, it might seem similar to Kirito collecting powerful allies, but Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers come with clear limitations. They can only be as strong as they were in life. They require constant maintenance of his mana, and he has to actually defeat them first. Compare this to Kirito just befriending whoever he needs at the moment, and you see how Solo Leveling creates actual stakes and limitations. Even the way both series handle relationships shows this fundamental difference. Kirito collects a harem of girls who instantly fall for him because he's just so amazing. Jin-Woo's relationships develop naturally through the story. Characters like Cha Hai-in don't instantly worship him. They recognize his growth over time. The series earns these developments instead of just handing them to the protagonist. The power scaling in Solo Leveling is another massive improvement. SAO constantly had to create artificial challenges for Kirito because he was too powerful from the start. Solo Leveling maintains tension by clearly establishing its power hierarchy. We always know exactly where Jin-Woo stands compared to other hunters, and his progress up this hierarchy feels earned. When he finally surpasses an S-rank hunter, it's a genuine achievement because we've seen every step it took to get there. The series also perfects the game-like interface that SAO introduced. Instead of just using it for cool visuals, Solo Leveling integrates the system into the actual storytelling. Status windows provide crucial information, quest notifications create genuine tension, and level ups feel significant because we understand exactly what they mean for Jin-Woo's capabilities. But perhaps the biggest improvement is how Solo Leveling handles its protagonist's growth mindset. Kirito succeeds because he's special. Jin-Woo succeeds because he's methodical. He carefully plans his battles, strategically chooses which monsters to fight, and makes calculated decisions about how to use his resources. The series shows us exactly how someone would actually need to think and act to become powerful in a system-based world. The dungeon breaks in Solo Leveling serve a similar but much more effective purpose than SAO's floor clearing. Instead of just being settings for Kirito to show off, dungeons in Solo Leveling are genuine challenges that require strategy, preparation, and careful resource management. When Jin-Woo enters a high-ranked dungeon, there's actual tension because we understand the risks and limitations he's working with. Solo Leveling even manages to handle the stuck-in-a-game world concept better, despite not actually being about a game. By making its system mechanics part of reality rather than a virtual world, it creates more interesting questions about how such power changes society. The series explores how the existence of hunters affects the world economy, international relations, and social structures depth that SAO never achieved, despite literally being about a virtual world-changing society. What Solo Leveling ultimately proves is that you can take SAO's basic concept, a normal person becoming extraordinary through system-based power progression, and turn it into something genuinely compelling, not by making your protagonist instantly overpowered, but by forcing them to earn their power through smart decisions, careful planning, and genuine struggle. It shows that the power fantasy genre doesn't need to sacrifice good storytelling for cool moments. The irony is that by making its protagonist work harder for his power, Solo Leveling actually created more satisfying power fantasy fulfillment than SAO ever managed, because when Jin-Woo finally becomes overwhelmingly powerful, we feel like he earned it. Every shadow soldier, every stat point, every skill was gained through effort we witnessed. That's how you perfect a power progression story, by making the progression itself as engaging as the power.